As much as we like to dunk on the Vancouver Canucks, and as much as I honestly do believe this is the biggest facepalm for the team at the moment, I don't really think this is anybody's fault. Okay, no, it's Jim Benning's fault. Yeah, it's Aquilini's fault. Yeah, you could always go back there. That's the big old blanket that pretty much covers all the Canucks' woes over the past few years now, isn't it? But within the context of Vancouver hockey today, this conversation point is quite the facepalm. Because earlier in the week, we had ourselves Team Sweden go out there and announce their 2026 Milano Cortina men's ice hockey roster at the Olympic Games. Of course, we know that Vancouver Canucks forward Elias Pettersson was included on the list. He made the Olympic team, much to the non-surprise of Canucks and general NHL fans. Yes, it's true, Petey has been not as good as he was a few years ago, but he's still got that reputation of what he could be, and thus, of course, he's going to be included on the Olympic team. But another name that ended up making Team Sweden at the Olympic Games was none other than Oliver Ekman-Larsson of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had been selected by Team Sweden for the 2026 Olympics. He had previously won silver at the 2014 Sochi Games. And I had to quickly remind myself, the 2014 Sochi Games featured a very good Swedish squad that played against Canada in the finals. Carey Price was a brick wall. Shea Weber, Drew Doughty, just going out there and terrorizing guys. You had Jay Bouwmeester and Alex Pietrangelo and Dan Hamhuis. Who could forget about him, even though Hamhuis was not the high-flying point scorer like a PK Subban, who was also at the tournament. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson was a part of that Swedish squad. And now he's going again. After putting up the season he has had with the Toronto Maple Leafs, where, and if you haven't been paying attention to the Maple Leafs, this is going to surprise you, he has scored himself 25 points in 41 games. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is on pace for 50 points on the year. He hasn't scored 50 points in an NHL season since 2015-16 with the Arizona Coyotes. He had 55 points in 75 games at that time. This guy is legitimately producing some of the best numbers of his career after multiple seasons in Vancouver where he just was not good enough, and he did not live up to the ginormous contract that Jim Benning acquired back in 2021. Now, Oliver Ekman-Larsson wasn't the worst thing in the world when he was playing for the Vancouver Canucks. He had 29 points in 79 games the first year, 22 points in 54 games the next. And that's fine. It's passable. You're an NHL defenseman when you produce like that. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson was just so unsubstantial, inconsequential, not special. He was just a normal defenseman in Vancouver who was making so much money. He was making $8.25 million a year with the Arizona Coyotes. And the contract had salary retained when he was on Vancouver. I get it. It wasn't necessarily the same, but he was making so much money against the Vancouver Canucks cap because he was the captain in Arizona and they gave him a payday. And Arizona ended up trading him away with Connor Garland for the first-round pick that became Dylan Guenther, as well as Beagle Eriksson and Roussel. A total win now. We don't care about the future. We don't care about Eriksson, Beagle, and Roussel's contracts all coming off the books the next year and us freeing up that dollar amount. We will use the potential cap space that we have next year on Oliver Ekman-Larsson and pay the price of a Dylan Guenther to get that done. The trade looks terrible now, although we did make videos talking about how I was excited for the trade. I'm generally very positive about stuff the Canucks do. It's my symptom of being a fan. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson was not great in Vancouver. Ever since getting bought out, though, because that's the biggest thing that we haven't spoken about yet. He got bought out by Vancouver. He signed in Florida for cheap, got 32 points in 80 games, won a Stanley Cup, and then signed in Toronto, where now he is on pace for 50 points. This is a really strong, talented defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the biggest facepalm of it all is what Taj goes out there and says here. Oliver Ekman-Larsson was another player who found greener pastures once he left the Vancouver Canucks. It's almost like the organization is the problem and not the players. Other vets should see this and ask for a trade. Now, just quick counterpoint to that argument. Quinn Hughes, yeah, he's playing better out of Vancouver. Bo Horvat, playing better out of Vancouver. Ekman-Larsson, Jared McCann, all playing better out of Vancouver. But you can't say the same thing about JT Miller. Okay, let's go back to the topic at hand. Cameron replies here in the comments, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is currently the highest scoring player on the Canucks payroll this season. He's got 25 points versus 23 Elias Pettersson points. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Now, for what it's worth, the tweet is a few days old. Elias Pettersson is now at 25 points in 33 games. So he does have the same amount of points that OEL does in 8 fewer games. But it just goes to show you how poor the Vancouver Canucks have been playing this season comparative to everybody else. The young guys are getting the majority of the points nowadays. Quinn Hughes has the highest point per game on Vancouver. He's still 2 points behind the top Canuck, and he only played 26 games. And now Oliver Ekman-Larsson is the highest scoring player, tied with Petey and Hronek, on the Canucks payroll because of that 25-point marker in Toronto. It is just dunk after dunk after dunk on this organization, and I don't even know where else we can go to articulate just how different things are with this guy. Like, when he made his debut in Florida, he was immediately effective, and then he was good in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and they won the Cup. In Toronto, he brought that experience, and they also were utilizing him, and he was looking pretty strong there too. He is not the same guy that he was in Vancouver, and I think a lot of that has to do with the status of his reputation and the contract. I think a lot of Canucks fans kind of accept that there was an element of, hey, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is a very expensive defenseman, and so he'll be deployed and played as if he is that quality of a guy. 7-point-something million bucks is like Quinn Hughes dollar amount money at the time. And even still, it might have been worth it if Arizona was still Oliver Ekman-Larsson's team, because he was the captain there, they gave him the keys to the car and everything, but in Vancouver, he just could not make it work. Now, on a much cheaper contract, he's only making $3 million a year, that Oliver Ekman-Larsson, $3.5 million with Toronto. Now that he's there, he's not making $7 million, $8 million. He doesn't have those expectations of being that $8 million caliber player. He's just outperforming the $3.5 million that he's making, and he's making it look easy. So, yeah, it's tough, eh? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Maple Leafs fan, how do you feel about the way OEL has been playing this season? And are you a fan of how he was treated in Vancouver based off of the commentary that we had today? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.